Hey y'all, what's up? Big Willie here, and welcome back to another episode of our FTB Skies Expert Let's Play. So in today's episode, I'm going to show you how to automate your space plating blocks with AE2. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so for those of y'all that watched the tail end of the last episode, you'll know that I had a breakthrough on figuring some things out, but still had stuff to sort on the setup for our calorite space plating block. And y'all are like, well, Wooly, you only got to make this one last space plating block for the pack. Why are you so worried about automating it? I don't know. You know, I thought it would be cool to figure out how to do it, okay? And maybe it'll help somebody else, or maybe this will help somebody know how to... I felt like doing it, okay? Don't look at me that way. All right, so in my inventory is everything you're going to need. If I think about it in production, I will try to, when I'm editing, make a list of like actual items. But from the looks of it, we're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 item cards. Probably just as many filters. 2 fluid cards. I don't know where the other one went. Oh, there it is. 2 fluid cards. You'll need your pattern provider. You're going to need all of the sequenced setup for making it with a deployer, a spout, and a mechanical press. You're going to need some way to get rotational force in. In my case, we're going to use an electric motor, 5 laser nodes, a storage controller, your linking and locking tools, 7 shafts, 3 mechanical belts, 2 andesite funnels, and a partridge in a pear tree. Oh, and a flux point. So let's start with the basic create setup that is going to be where everything is working off of. But to know where we need to place it, let's get our pattern provider down in the world. So this pattern provider, we're going to link into it 2 separate ways, okay? So it is going to be the return of our items, and it's also going to need to output into our storage controller to feed everything else in the system. So I think we want this one more block higher here. Oh God, it's the stupid bee is pushing all my stuff away from me. No! Curse you, bee. Where is the storage? There we go. Pattern provider. All right, so we're going to put the pattern provider here. Then we're going to wrench that to aim down, because we don't want it accidentally outputting anywhere else. We want it to output down into our storage controller. Storage controller was the key to figuring this out, because I needed something for the pattern that will allow both items and fluids in specific quantities only to be input and then dispersed. Thought about using entangled blocks, but the problem is there's no single interface for what we're trying to accomplish here. So now that we have our pattern provider and our storage controller, the next thing we're going to need is somewhere for this storage controller to send its stuff. Don't do like Wooly and forget to link these and then wonder why your thing is not working, okay? Okay, so we're going to put down some drawers here. I've got a couple that are already locked, but they will forget their contents if you pick them up when they're locked and they are at 0, and that's fine. And we need a fluid drawer. I've got a 4x fluid drawer, but I think, you know, you could do singles, you could do whatever you want, but we're just going to want to be able to define where the things go, have a spot for them to go, and link them up. So now, first things, let's go ahead and link up our drawers to our controller. So now when we tell this, and here's our pattern, so let's go over the pattern too, because the pattern is different. When we tell this to send, it's going to input them into the storage controller. Now it has a destination not only for the fluids, but also for the items. So let's go over the pattern, how we had to do this. So it's not just as simple as hitting the plus button like I was trying to do in the last episode and sticking your pattern in. We had to do some figuring. So if we come look at the pattern for the calorite space plating, you need 1 electron plate that has to be processed through 4 times to output your calorite space plating block. We all know that, right? We've done this a bunch of times at this point. So, but now we need to do the math, because we're trying to tell our system what it needs to send to this pattern provider for it to eventually get back 1 space plating block, calorite space plating block. So that means if we have to go through this process 4 times, our pattern, if you just hit the plus, it's going to put 1, 1, and for some reason, 0.437 buckets worth of, I don't know where it even, like, it just randomly picked that number. I don't know. But what it actually needs, if we look at the pattern, is you need 1 full bucket and you need 4 pieces of calorite space plating per. So the thing we learned from whoever it was in the comments a bunch of episodes ago, if we wheel click on this, it gets us our GUI. So now we're going to zero it out and tell it we want a full bucket because 0.25 times 4 is 1. Simple math. Same thing here. We need 4. So we're going to tell it 4 and set. And so now our pattern, once we hit the button to write it out, is going to send 1 electrum plate, 4 calorite space plating, and 1 bucket of liquid elemental void to the pattern provider. And that's what we want. Okay, so that's step 1. Now we know that our system is going to send the correct amounts for us to our setup over here. Now we've just got to get it, the setup, to do what we need with those amounts. One last thing before we're good to go on this. Our fluid is already set, but if you want to set it yourself, you know, that's fine too. Let's go ahead and grab out our electrum plate. We need 1 of those to set a drawer, and we also need a calorite space plating to set the other drawer. Or, yeah, not the block, the plating. So if we just tell you to be electrum and you to be calorite space plating, and then we take everything back out, toss them back in our storage. We don't need them in here on us. And then for tanks, I should have a little bit of this fluid in one of these tanks from like trying to test the recipe before. So for those of you who haven't already set it up, your drawer won't have that little bit of residual in it. It'll look like this. You just need to grab wherever you're storing your liquid elemental void in your storage system. You need to grab a little bit of it, come and set the drawer, and then you can lock it. And then you're going to want to pull all the fluid back out. We want this drawer zeroed. We want all of these drawers zeroed because the way it's going to be set up, if there's anything left over in here, it's going to send it to a block and it's going to back everything up. So everything has to start at 0 when we hit go, or you're not going to get you're not going to get the result from your system that you're really hoping for. So that's very important to have the drawers locked, set and locked, so that everything has a home, but there needs to be nothing in any of the homes. So now we need to start making this thing take shape. First things first, we are going to need a laser node that can take things out of our storage here. All right. And then now we have to think about our proximity, because we're going to want something where we can input back into the pattern provider. So I'm going to go with this side of it because I can use this twofold. Because if I now take and put one of my barrels here, this can be the barrel that the belt line draws out of. There we go. So now I need to grab a thing because that is aiming the wrong way. I don't want it to be sucking into this one. We need to get a wrench and tell it to pull out of that. There we go. So now it's an extract, which is fine. Actually, I think once the belt is here, the belt dictates the direction, so it won't really matter. So speaking of the belt, so for it, we're going to put a shaft right here, and then we are going to put a shaft so 1, 2, 3 machines, and another shaft there. So this is going to be the length of our primary belt where we do all of our work. Connect them up. Now, on this belt, we're going to need 3 things in the specific order for the setup. You're going to need your deployer, you're going to need your spout, and you're going to need your metal press. First up, deployer. Make sure that your shaft is aiming out this way because we're going to pass the rotational force up to the top with a belt. Spout. Does not matter. Just needs to go down. I placed it in the totally wrong place. Let's try again. There we go. Spout in the middle. And last but not least, press. Look, we got them all right the first time. All right, so now we need to get our rotation up to the top from down here. So I'm going to add an extra shaft right there, and then I am going to bring it out on this side. Actually, I don't know why I'm doing it that way. Oh, yeah, I do. I'm going to bring it out 2 on this side because we need... Nope, I did it wrong. I had enough of everything. Hold on. All right, let me remember how I set this up here. Would you be quiet already? I'm thinking. All right, well, we can go on with other things while I'm trying to think this through. So we're going to need on the other end, we're going to need another receiving barrel. And I had this cobblestone in my inventory because I had used it as temp blocks when I built it the first time. So I don't see why we shouldn't just stick it back down. That clears my inventory and helps me think I put everything where it's supposed to go. Andesite funnel on this end. Now we're going to have a way for things to get out of the storage controller into this contraption, and then we're going to need a way for things to get back from this end. So we're going to put another laser node right here next to this barrel. That's going to be the one that either loops the product back to the start barrel or sends the finalized product back to the pattern provider. Now we have 2 more laser nodes and 2 more places we need items. We're going to put one of those laser nodes up here and one of those laser nodes right here. And so this is how I did it before. We put one here, we put one here, we put one there, and then we put 2 on the front because we want all of this to rotate the same way. So we're going to carry our rotation up to the top row right here off of the shaft that we put in the middle, and then we are going to power our 2 up top right here. So now everything that's rotating should rotate in the same direction. So all that's left for us is to give it some rotational force. So let's take our electric motor and we can stick it right here. This should be just fine. The only other thing it's going to need is some power to get started. Now, that is the wrong side. So let's go stick it on the other side. Oh, we need our Paxel. So we're going to put the motor on the side. It can go right there. That's just fine. Going to step up the RPMs on it too, but now you'll see everything's rotating in the right direction. It's going to pull out of our start barrel here, run it down the line, and it's going to spit it into that barrel. Now this is a little slow, so let's pick up the speed. I think we can go as high as like 128 with the stress units that are on here, and that should be plenty fast for what we're going to do. And you're like, well, Wooly, that's cool and all, but you haven't set up anything. None of your fluids are going anywhere. Nothing's getting anywhere. You haven't linked any. Okay. That's how my brain goes too. But if you'll calm down. Yeah, we calm? Cool. We'll get through it. Maybe we won't fall asleep in the chair. I fell asleep in the chair trying to figure it out because I got frustrated. But you don't have to. So, let's link them all up. Laser nodes, they don't care. Just pick one and link it. And then if you just don't like the way the lines are going, you can pick another one and link it. And then here and here. As long as they're all linked, anything that's linked, it will find its way. You know, like what is it that the guy in Jurassic Park says? Life will find a way. Laser IO will find a way. So I cheated a little. I have fluid cards that are already preset. So this here, you can tell by the way that it is a fluid extract card because it's red and, you know, blue. So we want to pull our fluids that we're going to get inputted out of this storage controller. So we're going to right click and put it in the up facing thing here. All I did on this was put 4 overclockers in, set it to the maximum, set it to the minimum on ticks, and no filter, no nothing. We're going to pull our fluids out of the storage controller. Now, the fluids need to go here into the spout. So that is going to be on the north face of this. So we'll go pick north, and we need to insert our fluids. Now, because there's only one fluid per craft for the things we're setting up, we need no filters on either end of the fluids because if if everything goes well, there should never be any additional fluids in this self-contained storage controller setup other than the ones for that craft. So that saves us needing to filter that, and it's gonna work out just fine. So now we need to take the things that the pattern provider sent here for the craft, and we need to get them where they go. So this is also going to need to be able to extract items from the up. Let's make sure we have the correct one. No filters. We want it to pull whatever items it wants out of the storage controller, actually all of them, because the only thing that should ever be in these drawers over here, is the crafting ingredients. We should never, ever, ever have any of our product in here because we're not going to be sending it here. It's going to be going back into the pattern provider. This is bugging me that those aren't locked, so I'm going to go ahead and lock that while I'm looking at it. Now, so we're getting our items out of here. Now comes the complicated part. We have to tell what items that this is pulling out, where they go. So into this barrel, the only thing that's going to go in here is your initial material that you're stamping through the process. So in our case, for the one that we're doing right now, for the calorite space plating, that is going to be the electrum plate. So on the down, here we go. You are going to insert the electrum plate. Now we get to go through all these because I don't know which one this is. Okay, so that is calorite space plating. Oh, I think I can hold shift. No, I can't because it won't show me the filter until you're in it. Okay, here is the first one. So here's our electrum plate, but this is the interesting part. Took me a minute to sort. You also need to allow this to insert the incomplete block. So for this one, all we need is the incomplete calorite space plating. But in future-proof, thinking, I told it, hey, space plating blocks, incomplete dash, incomplete ostrom, you can take all of those incomplete blocks, because if we're going to set this up now, who knows why I would want to, but maybe you want to make another one of your lower tier rockets, or you need some of that. Either way, I wanted to go ahead and just show you that it could be done for all of them, but for the one we need today, that's incomplete calorite space plating block. You find that just over here in JEI. So you have your calorite space plating, and then you have the incomplete block. That's what it gets labeled as after the first time it goes through one of its interactions, and it has like a progress bar. So the main thing that you also need to do on your filter here is we want to sell it to ignore NBT data. So we have it on an allow list and ignore NBT, because they're not all going to be the same. They're going to be different amounts of progress for each step. So that ignore NBT flag is very important there. So now we've got our electrum plating that came in from the craft, and we've handled the looping part to get this to go through until it fully completes the craft of the item. So now we also are going to need, we had, what was it? This one was calorite space plating. Oh, look, I can right click them in the air to see the filter. Heck yeah. So this is calorite space plating, and this one needs to go on, once again, the north face of this block. So we're going to put that in there, and this is going to tell it, okay, when you get calorite space plating from the craft, you can insert them into this deployer, which is what we want. Now, one more insert card. This one should be our finalized space plating blocks. Now, the reason these other ones are in here is because these are literally the same laser IO cards I had from this setup at the old base, and those were already on there to stop them from going back through the loop. But all I did was change it, instead of a block, I changed it to an allow, and I moved it from an extract card, or from an extract card to this insert card, and this is going to take our finalized calorite space plating block from the barrel down yonder, and it's going to insert it back into the pattern provider for us when the craft is complete. So now we have ourselves 2 more extract cards left in the storage. So one of these extract cards is blank. The other one is also blank. So what are these for, you might ask, Willie? Actually, I don't know why I have 2 left. I do know that on this face right here, this is going to need an extract card. And that extract card should not care at all about what it's extracting, because whether it's a partial product or a complete product, it has places to send those all on the other end. And then the last thing is I need to figure out if I've missed something. Is there an extract card that I missed? So we've got an insert into this barrel. We don't need to extract anything out of that barrel. We don't need to extract anything out of the pattern provider. This is an insert card because it needs to insert, and we don't need to take anything out of there. This is an extract, and yeah, we don't need to insert anything into there. I must have one extra for no reason. I'm really not sure why we have it. So at this point, right now, the way this sits, we're ready to test it. So let's see if I was able to assemble that again from memory, and let's tell it to make us a calorite space plating block. There we have it. Automated space plating blocks. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Some of you guys have asked for longer, more in-depth technical videos explaining it, and I hope I did a good job of presenting it. This took me a long time to sort. I didn't watch other videos. I didn't try to find a video on how to do it. I just was like, the solution has to be here for me to figure it out. And this is what I came up with. Maybe there's other ways. Maybe you got a way to improvement. If you do, let me know down in the comments. I don't claim to know everything, and I'm definitely no expert, but this expert pack is piquing my interest as far as finding solutions. So I really hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, hit the like. If you are not yet subscribed, one of that percentage, it's a big percentage. It's a shocking high percentage of you that are watching the videos but not subscribed. Please subscribe. It'll help. We're getting so close to goals, and I would love to have your subscription. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you all next time.